Ladies and gentlemen, just to give some context before I get into this video, I'm 5 seasons deep in Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul is a show based off a lawyer that does things a little bit different. To say the least, today we're going to be doing speedy justice for you. Gala Games and Gala themselves getting into a bit of a scuffle in a multi-lawsuit shebang that we're going to be going over today. This is Classy Games. Pulled out the suit for today. Let's get into it, because guess what? They all want me to go on. So it's time to go on. So there's a couple things here. I want to go over some context here. There are indeed lawsuits happening within Gala. This is, of course, Blockchain Game Partners, aka, their Wyoming corporation, Gala Games. And this is happening both ways. This is happening between Wright Thurston as well as Eric Schiermeyer. These are two individuals which both own 44% of Gala Games, which totals to 88% of the entire company. So to say the least, this is a big deal, right? This is a big deal in terms of interluding and fighting and all these kinds of things. And before anybody comes into this video with the expectation of me actually giving anything valuable, for the most part, I am not a legal expert. You should probably talk to a lawyer about all this stuff, and all of these things are allegations that are being thrown out here. But, let's get into it, because we've got a wonderful TLDR of it all. So let's go over it, right? Here it is. Legal drama unfolds between True North and Eric Schiermeyer. True North United Investments is suing Eric Schiermeyer, the president and director of Gala Games. The suit alleges corporate mismanagement, misuse of funds, and shady business practices. True North, a Utah-based company that owns almost 45% of Gala Games. So very big amount of it, right? In terms of the charges, here it is, okay? The True North claims Schiermeyer misused millions of dollars, including $600 million worth of assets. You remember that Gala burn back in January when everybody was super hyped about it, and Gala was like, yeah, we're going to be burning a ton of Gala. Well, it seems like True North did not enjoy that at all. Not one bit. In fact, so much so that they ended up making it a key hallmark of the lawsuit. So that will kind of go from there, right? In terms of personal loans, he allegedly lent millions from Gala Games to himself. Of course, allegedly. He's apparently created entities in Switzerland and Dubai that should belong to Gala Games. And in terms of blocking input, he blocked Wright Thurston, a director at Gala Games, from company decisions. But very interesting stuff nonetheless, because both parties founded Gala Games to develop and operate video games on the blockchain. The initial agreement was to share all business opportunities 50-50. And of course, it's very important because, this is like half of Gala Games right here going against half of Gala Games. It's like a 1v1 going on over here, all over the place. But let's go over the second one, because it's not just one lawsuit going on, it's two. And they're just countersuing, right? They're just suing each other. And here it goes. Eric Schiermeyer and his shareholder derivative complaint against Wright Thurston and True North. So it's Schiermeyer against Wright Thurston over here. So the lawsuit's filed by Eric Schiermeyer. He's a shareholder and key executive of Gala Games. And here it is, apparently. The core issue is that Thurston allegedly stole billions of Gala tokens from Gala Games. Gala is the main cryptocurrency of the Gala ecosystem. What Thurston did when caught: Thurston claimed the tokens were securely stored for Gala Games, but then he moved them and converted them into about $130 million before he was stopped. So, allegations of crypto fraud. In terms of stolen nodes, Thurston didn't stop at tokens. He had also allegedly stole licenses to operate nodes in the Gala ecosystems. These nodes are, of course, very valuable. I don't even own a Gala node because they're so expensive. In terms of the SEC's action, this is a big one here. The U.S. SEC also sued Thurston for another case of fraud involving green boxes that falsely claimed to mine an energy-inefficient crypto token. Thurston has a history of founding companies that end in bankruptcy, litigation, or SEC action. And there they go. They want to remove Thurston as a director from Gala Games. And this is very interesting here, okay? Because now it's like we're going a little bit deeper here. We can talk all about, the allegations that, Thurston went against Eric for buying a corporate jet. And then, Eric is out there saying that there was a tax shelter program for corporate jets and that they don't even own that corporate jet anymore. And that there's a bunch of lies going out all over the place. And guess what? I don't know, right? Ultimately, we won't know until whatever ends up happening. And I think it's going to bring a lot of clarity to the ecosystem, because this whole like right versus Gala Games thing has been going on for quite some time. Like, this is not something new. There was a node vote that recently passed that changed the entire way the ecosystem worked in terms of emissions. I think Right owns somewhere around 7,000 Gala nodes, and they pretty much made it so that all these, owners with tons and tons of Gala nodes, they're going to have a lot of trouble going ahead and earning as much as people with less nodes in terms of relation of investment, right? And I don't think he liked that. I don't think he liked it at all, because it seems like I was going to talk about this today, that it passed, but guess what? Seems like we're going to be talking about this lawsuit instead. There's a lot more here, and in terms of Coinbase, for everybody that has their money stuck in Coinbase right now, I actually have the reason, likely, not the concrete reason, but allegations of why Coinbase did not end up listing Gala Games' V2. So here it is. In terms of Gala V2, this is what ended up happening. When Gala V2 was issued to replace Gala V1, the Gala V2 tokens were not deposited into Thurston wallets, and he was left with obsolete Gala V1 tokens in those wallets. After that, Thurston was no longer able to sell the stolen Gala from the Thurston wallets. By taking this action, the company was able to mitigate some of the damage caused by Thurston and to prevent Thurston from further enriching himself by transferring, exchanging, and liquidating stolen Gala. At that time, Thurston or True North had already moved approximately half of the 8.6 billion stolen tokens, valued at approximately $130 million at the time. So these are massive allegations saying, hey, you stole a lot of money from Gala Games. You were selling it off to the point where we needed to do an emergency upgrade here. And this upgrade did not include you at all. And guess what? Look at this at 126. On June 8th, 2023, Coinbase sent the company a series of questions concerning the SEC's lawsuit against Thurston and inquiring about the company's continued involvement with Thurston. After Thurston stole and began liquidating the stolen Gala, Coinbase refused to support the Gala V2 upgrade. Thurston's allegedly fraudulent conduct has caused significant damage to the Gala Games reputation, brand, and goodwill. So apparently this is the answer to why Gala has not been able to actually go ahead and get that support from Coinbase and get the listing that they were looking for. But overall, this is just an unfortunate circumstance where a founder with an original version and, director and, people that ended up working at the start together, they had a mesh, don't have that much of a mesh now, and they're just going out for blood. I had a situation last year where there was a very, very, very close, friend of mine, at least I'd like to believe that randomly stopped supporting me, and he just randomly went on this huge expose, which was just a bunch of lies, literally just a bunch of lies orchestrated to try to damage my reputation. Of course, now it doesn't really matter because we're kind of past that, but it's sad to see. Like, it's seriously sad to see that sometimes visions don't end up working out, and the way that people kind of find themselves in terms of a position is vengeance. They feel like, oh, they didn't treat me the way I wanted them to treat me, so I feel like going after their throat is the only way to actually have a meaningful solution in this circumstance. And, we won't probably know a lot of the details for quite some time, and they'll come and we'll see what happens then. I'm just a gamer at the end of the day. I just play video games all day. But of course, Gala is a big part of the channel, so we will go ahead and talk about this. To say the least, you should be informed in regards to this, but all I would say is take a lot of what you're seeing right now with a grain of salt on both sides in terms of allegations, because we don't know what is actually going to happen if, we end up getting to discovery and a lot of those facts turn into lies, or maybe those lies turn into facts. We don't know what's going to end up happening here. So we'll see how the situation ends up developing. Of course, we will be covering this as always. I think there's a good amount of people that used to cover Gala back in the day, and now they're just like finding excuses. They said they weren't going to cover Gala, but the second that something bad happens to Gala, they decide, okay, now's the time to start covering it again. So you'll probably be hearing from that, but till the next time, stay classy, and that's all.